Hello. Um, Today we are going to explore an app. The app is going to allow us to do some things in the growing learning environment we are doing. We are going to learn how to use permissions. You see that on your device or on your phone, there are certain permissions you need to seek in order to use the camera or the storage or internet or a phone or something. So we are going to see how we can add permissions to our application. We are also going to learn about Toast. That is a message we give out to a user for alerting them or notification or something like that. We are also going to learn about the scroll view. Now, this is a layout that allows you to use it when your application is going to have a lot of scrolling in your content. We are also going to use the linear layout. The linear layout allows us to stack up our items on our screen. It's very good when you have a project whereby the items will have to be stacked up or one on top of the other horizontally or vertically. So we are going to use the linear layout to display the items on our screen. So what are we going to do today? We are going to write an app for MTN. Now, the app for MTN is going to incorporate the MTN shortcodes. So the MTN shortcodes which are there, we are going to write an app so that instead of me thinking of the shortcodes with a click of a button, I can utilize all the shortcodes in which I want to use. Very, very simple. But this allows us to utilize permissions and all the things we have to do. Let us start building the app then. First of all, I've started a new project. I've called it MTN app, just the name I gave it. And then over here on the side, I'm going to open this app. I'm going to open my resources and I'm going to open this app here. For my application, I have to have some files. What files do I require? First of all, I need my home page. That is going to be this page here. I need also to have, so for my application, I'm going to have an home page. So I'm going to have a home page. That's going to be my main activity. I'm going to have a call user activity so that I can call someone over there. I'm also going to have a help activity. So a help activity whereby a user can use that to seek help on how to use my application. So if the user wants to use my application, he'll go to the help user and over there he'll get help information on how to use my application. So I'll come back here. Now in here, I'll right click here, go to new, and then once I go to new, I'll go to new activity. Under that, I'll look for empty views activity, and here I'll create an empty views activity with call user. So capital C, capital U, capital U. And then when I'm done, I'll click on finish. So over here, I have call user, and here I have activity underscore call underscore user. So now I've created that activity too. I'll create another activity. So I'll right click here, I'll come here, I'll go to activity, and here I'll create an empty views activity. And in this case, I'll call it help. For clarity, let me just, okay, let's help. Or let me say help activity. That's okay. And then let me click on finish so it sounds better. So I've created my call user, help activity, and my main activity. These are the activities I have. In my manifest, I'll open it up. And then in here, I'll do the first important thing I'll do. I'll create a permission. So I'm going to give the permission for my app. In order for us to use the USSD, those codes you type, *112 and those things, I have to call upon the call phone activity of the call phone permission. So in here, I'll tell the computer at this spot here that I want to use a permission. So uses permission. And then in here, I have a lot of permissions I can use, but the permission I care about is the call underscore phone. So Android permission, call phone, and then I'll bring my slash and close. Now, the moment I'm done with this, you can see that there is a problem. There is a line over here. It is the computer's way of telling me that um, this activity you want to use, in which scenario or in which feature can we use this? So we can only use this when the hardware has a telephone. So over here, I also tell the computer that you can only use this feature. So uses feature when the Android device, first of all, required is false. And then in here, I would say where the Android device, Android, hmm, name. And then in here, the name I want is Android hardware dot telephony. And I'll close with a slash and. So whenever there is a telephone being used, then this permission would be implemented. So now everything I have to do in manifest is done. I have given permission to this app. So now I'm done. Now I have to design my app. I'll start with the main activity. I'll go to the code side. And then we are going to do something strange, something which we normally don't do for all our lessons. All our lessons have been us using the what do we call that? We have been using so far the constraint layout in everything in which we do. But today we will not be using the constraint layout. We are going to use a mixture of the scroll view and the linear layout. Okay, so in here, I don't need the constraint layout. I'm going to use the scroll view. And of course, at the bottom here, I'll have to close with the scroll view. So that goes away. Or better still, let me just type everything fresh so that we have a fresh view of everything. So here I'll have to be using scroll view. And then in here, of course, I'll have to use the tag of the scroll view I'm using, which is this. Obviously, I have to close my scroll view, so I'll have, because it's a, remember, XML is a tag-based language, so anything in which you open, you will have to close. So I have closed my tag over here. Perfect. And then over course over here, there is a close here so that the tags match their closing. Perfect, like this. Now in here, I have no values here. I obviously have to give them values. So in here, we are saying that, let me take this one out because I can't just leave them like this. So in here, I'll just say Android. Width, Android, layout, width. And then someone asks, sir, you didn't explain the match parent and wrap content. What do they mean? When I say match parent, I'm saying that you should expand to match what is containing you. So when I say match parent, I'm saying that this entire thing should cover the canvas in which I have over here. This entire canvas here is the parent. So if you're a dot in here, I'm telling you, if I'm telling you to match parent, I'm saying expand till you fit the size of the parent in which you have. If I'm telling you to match content, I'm saying that what is containing you shrink so that you match the content that is containing you. In our case, we want you to match parent because we want the scroll view to cover the entire screen. And over here too, I want Android layout underscore height. And here is also going to match period. And then I want the Pandroid padding. That is, I want the space between anything and then anything inside it, and then the wall of it to have a distance of 24 dp. And I want my background to be a bit ashy. So here I would say Android background, and I want my background to be a bit ashy. So I have F5, F5, F5. So when I come here, I'll see that it's a bit ashy, and I have this as my layout. Beautiful. Now, I want to stack up my items. I want my items to be one on top of the other. So I'll say linear layout, and I want my linear layout to match parent and match parent, so I can close it. And also, I want the orientation of my layout, very important. So the orientation of my layout to be vertical, so that it means that anything I'll put there, let it be on top of the next thing that is there. It should be vertical. With that in mind, it means I can now write my code. I can now write my code. Now, if it is like this, it means that this is the entire linear layout. So here, I don't want you to stop here. That means that over here, there should be a closed layout over here so that I can have content within it because it's a tag. So I can have a singular tag or I can have a tag that has things in it. Now in here, first thing, I want my text view. And in my text view, I want it to wrap content. That means that whatever information I put inside the text view, the size of it should be the same as the content that it is in. And then in here, I would say my Android text property should be MTN Ghana USSD services. I want my Android text size to be 24 SP. I want my Android text style to be bold. I want the color of the text there. So I have my Android text color to be FFC. C107, which will give us the MTN yellow. I want the text to appear in the center when it is horizontal. So it should be in the middle. So I'll say Android. Note that whenever we write Android here, it means that we are invoking the properties panel. And when we invoke the properties panel, we are looking for the property of layout gravity. And we want it to be center horizontal. I want there to be some small distance between the thing I have and the bottom of things which will come. So I would say my Android margin layout. But if I say margin, it will take all the sides. I don't want all the sides. I just want the bottom to be 24 dp. And then I want the Android top. So margin again, but this time I want the top to be 25 dp. And when we are done, you bring the slash and close. You can see that this doesn't have a close tag, so I've closed it over here so that everything here is one, because there's nothing inside it. So when I go into my design view, you see that I have this. You can see the distance between this here and here and here and here. And then I have this beautiful thing over here and it is in the middle. I can come back here. To make things fast and so that the video will not be long, I'll just put the code there and then I will explain the code of what I have done. So the next thing I want to do is I want to do the button. And then here is the button. For me to get the emoticon here, you can press the Windows button and then comma. And then it will pop up for you to choose whatever emoticon in which you want. Emoji. Yeah. So the ID is this because I'll be using it in the system. Of course, it will match parent so that the size of it will be long enough. So I want the size to be as big as the parent. And the parent, remember, is the linear layout. So you can see that the linear layout is around everything here beautifully. But the size in terms of weight should be the same as what it is inside it. Beautifully done over here. So wrap content for the height, but for the width, it should match the parent. I want another button. So this button is also going to be here. I want another button. To be honest, I want another button. You can always pause and type the code over there. So the buttons would be giving me this. Let me split them. So that I have this. So to check your bundle, to check this, to check that. And then you have done the check for data bundle. Let's do another button for us to call somebody. So if I want to make a call, this is what I'll do. And then another button so that we can check and ask for help. So this is a button for me to click on to ask for help. So this is my interface. This is how my thing looks like. Let me design my help. For help, I'll go into the code side again. This time, let me split it into two. For help, I don't need everything here. I want a scroll view. So here I can just tell the computer to give me a scroll view. And then I have a scroll view. My scroll view is going to match parent. My scroll view is going to one second. I don't need this repeating itself again, so it can go away. Oh, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. And then choose help, not activity. I don't need this. So I don't need the context because I don't need this. This can go away. That's fine. So over here, I have my ID, which is going to be help. Um, no, just to make life easier for me, let me type everything myself. I do need this, so just to save me some typing speed, let me just do this so that I can just do this. Scroll view. Then in here is going to be match period. Going to be scroll view. Let me just close it up here. Right here, I can just see match parent, but the options are not coming because here I don't have Android preceding it, so it is not invoking the properties panel for me. And then in here, let me close this off with this, so that over here I'll have that. Then in here, I can just say match parent, and here I can also see match one parent. And again, the moment I say match parent, you can see that on the screen, something just goes so that everything just matches the whole parent. Now here, it is not closed, so I can just close it here and then bring it down here so that I have an actual tag for closing. And then in here, I want what I have to have a padding. So I'll say Android padding, and my padding should be 24 pp. And then I want it to have a color of white. So I'm going to say Android background color, and my background color is going to be 6Fs. Now, once this is done, all I have to do on this screen is say text view is going to match parent, and it is going to wrap around content for the height. And then before I do this, so I can close this off here. And then before I do this, I'll just say Android ID, and then the ID I want to give is txt help. Now, the size of the text that will be showing in the text view is going to be controlled by the text size property. So here I want the text size to be 16 SP, and I want the color of it, so Android text color to be black, but a shade of black. So I'll just say hashtag 33333. So 6 threads. And I have this shade of black. So I'm done here. Over here, I'll come back here. I'll go to my call. Then I'll write my code for the call. For my call, there is no need for the call section to scroll. So I don't need a scroll view. So I'll just zoom directly into linear layout. And then in here, I'll just write my code there. Of course, I need this. So since I pasted it from the other side, I'll just join it. And then in here, just to make life more easier for me, I'll let the computer know that everything is coming from the Android properties panel. And here too is coming from the Android properties panel, so that over here I can just see it should match period. Match period. Then in here, I'll just close here and have a tag to close it off. I want the orientation to be vertical. So here I would say Android orientation should be vertical. And then I also want the padding, so Android padding. And I want my padding to be 24 dp. And I want my background, so Android background. And I want my background to be white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll give you the white tile for Android background. So when I come here, I'll see I have this here, beautiful for me. And then I can write my code. What do I want to do? I want people to make a call. So I need to tell them, give them a message to make a call. Again, to make things quicker for you, I will just show you the code that is there. So first, I need a text view. So I have a text view, wrap around content to show make a call. Then we have this, it should be bold and that, so that someone will come here and see this so that they can make the call they have to. Also, I need a place for someone to type the call they have to do. So I need an edit text. So here I have my edit text here so the person can type the call they have to make. And of course, you need a place where you can type the call you have to make. So you click on the button so that you can make the call. Now that I'm done with these, I have to shift to writing Java code.